Hey Beans, it's Ju, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience this summer as a camp counselor at an all-girls camp. And I was going to make a video that was like 10 things you learn as a camp counselor, but I just thought it would be more beneficial to you and just more fun for me if I just talked about my experience at camp rather than just going over things that I'm pretty sure most people assume they'll learn or are kind of obvious. So let's get started. Before we can jump into what camp was like, I am going to talk about the interviewing process and all of that. So I live in New York City, and the camp is New York based, so unlike the international people who work there, I just had to go into their office for an interview. I applied online, and after the interview I just had to give in some references, wait till they got back, and then I would hear back from the director, and then once that was over I got the job. And yeah, it was a really simple process. After the interview, when it was time to finally go to camp, we had a week of orientation at the camp. So we were there a week before any of the children came, and we spent that whole week getting to know each other and also like preparing and learning about the job. So orientation I thought was like really awesome. I feel like it was awesome because it gave me the chance to make a lot of friends. Like, I made a lot of my good friends during orientation, and it was a lot of time to like get the feel for camp. The actual orientation was a little boring because we had to like spend all day going through classes until like dinner time, and it wasn't fun. Sometimes there were some activities that were fun, but it was a lot of workshops and learning, and it wasn't just about the kids, it was also about like general things that women face and how like we should go about answering. We had like a few fun activities. We had an activity with Planned Parenthood, and a lot of them were really educational, and like I appreciate going to those classes, but like when you have a full day of classes, you know, it's not that fun. But we did get like a lot of fun time where we just like learned songs. We had like an all-staff thing, and that was really fun. And yeah, we had a lot of time to socialize, and yeah, I got to hang out with some of my new friends, and yeah, orientation was awesome. I think it was fine. Touching on orientation, my body was still getting used to the environment. It wasn't really used to camp. For example, during orientation we lived at a different cabin than we did when the kids came. We got switched after we picked with which age group we wanted to work with. So during orientation I lived in a birdhouse with 3 other girls, so it was just like all of us like together, and we could see each other on our beds, and it was like very small, and we were like really close. Rather than when I finally moved into a cabin, because I worked with the younger kids, so I moved into a cabin rather than a birdhouse. And cabins are like way bigger, and you're like bunk beds, so you basically have that divide and like little space of your own when you go to sleep, unlike in a birdhouse. But like either way, I was completely fine. My body was still adjusting to like drinking so much water and like doing all the walking and also like the new food. I remember like the 4th night in, like in the middle of the night, I just woke up and like threw up all over my bed, and I was just like, what do I do now? Like, I was freaking out a little bit, but like in the end it worked out. Like my body just needed to adjust to like camp life and camp food and stuff. But yeah, like I remember like all of orientation I didn't go to the bathroom for number 2. So that was interesting. My body was like working to get used to it. But yeah, other than that, I liked orientation. A few things I want to touch on before I start mentioning how the sessions went was the food. I am vegetarian, if you didn't know, and they had vegetarian options like at every single meal, which was super nice because the cook was actually a vegan, so we got really good food. Sometimes I didn't eat it because I just like didn't want it, but like the food was really good, and we had a salad bar, so it was always easy to stay vegetarian. And yeah. As for the sessions, we get a new group of kids every 2 weeks, and you get to go home on the weekend for 2 days, but like if you're an international, you don't. So almost every single time on the weekend I went home, I had a friend with me, and that was lovely. I met so many amazing people, and everyone at camp was so nice and so supportive, and it was so nice to be in an environment where all the women supported each other, and also teaching younger girls to like appreciate and love one another and uplift one another instead of like being jealous or being envious. You know, it was a really nice environment, and I loved it. So as for sessions, I feel like each session I struggled or succeeded at a different thing. Like first session, once the kids got there, I was learning the ropes, and like I was super anxious over like everything I did, and I would ask some of my co's like, should I do this? Like, because one of my co's were a returner, so they had been a counselor before, and so I kept like asking like, should I do this? Like, and like I was very hesitant to do things. Session 2, I was super like still anxious, but also like super hard on myself for not doing enough. I feel like since I was anxious, my anxiety was holding me back a little bit, and like I don't know, I just felt super hard on myself, and I wasn't really happy session 2. And also just because like some of my friends had left after session 1, so I was a little sad, and like I was just working with a lot of things during session 2, like personal and like just, you know. So session 2 wasn't my greatest session. Like the kids were all amazing every single session, but like for myself, like I feel like I could have been better. Session 3 was my greatest session with myself. I was doing so much as a counselor. I was like super on top of like literally everything. I think maybe I was doing too much, but like I really like pushed myself, and there was like a huge jump in session 3, and I was really happy about it. And then session 4, I was like death sick the whole session. I had like a really bad flu thing, and I don't know where it came from. I just got like super sick. I don't know. I was like really sick the whole session, like, and the thing is, it's like 2 weeks. Like, why was I sick for 2 weeks? At the end of session 4, it was the end of camp, and it was really sad. I cried. On the last dinner on banquet night, I cried. It was just, I don't know, I knew I was gonna miss camp, and like, I don't know, camp was like an amazing experience. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I learned so much. You know, I made amazing friends, and I just think that, you know, being away from home and being in this new environment really helped in lots of different ways. It helped my anxiety, my confidence, just so many things, as you would expect. It was tough because like no matter what you were facing, or no matter like what was going on, you still had to put your best foot forward for the kids, because that's who you're there for in the end. It's not about the money, it's not about like anything but the kids. You are there for them, and like sometimes it's hard like having to put them first when you're struggling, but like going through all these hardships, and like sometimes like you don't get privacy to like really, you know, allow yourself to feel it, you know, whatever emotion you're feeling. Even though there was like a whole bunch of hardships that you might face at camp, or you do face at camp, like in the end it's so rewarding. Like I feel like this job was difficult but very rewarding, and I would 100% suggest that if you are thinking of going to camp, just do it. Just do it. Go be a camp counselor. Like, it's literally 2 months of your life, and they can literally be life-changing. Yeah. Overall, I'm really happy with my experience, and I feel like I might go back next year. I want to, but you know, life, so I don't really know if I'll be able to, but I really do want to. I really do. That is my experience as a camp counselor. Obviously it was a positive one, and I hope you enjoyed this video, because if you did, give it a thumbs up and comment below something, anything. I love comments and seeing what you guys think. So if you want to see what I packed with me to camp for the whole summer, then I have a video of that on my channel, and I also have a cabin tour on my channel which just shows where I was living and just how I decorated it to make it feel more homey. So if you want to see that, then I'll put the link somewhere here, but I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.